had come where we were forced to make a decision about something we've been putting off because it was just too painful to deal with. Well, this morning, in her fourth speech, Ginny will be giving us a couple of examples of how finally making some of those difficult decisions resulted in the best possible circumstances. Here is Ginny with The Best Reward.
I am not a very lucky person. It's true. I found that in life, if anything can go wrong, it will. But there have been a few instances where I've learned that sometimes making difficult and painful decisions can land you exactly where you're supposed to be and exactly with the people you're supposed to be with. When I was 24, I went through what I like to call my quarter-life crisis. And that crisis began, interestingly enough, on September 11th, 2001. Prior to September 11th, I was in a 5-year-long relationship with someone I was engaged to. I had my own apartment, a dog, a zippy purple sports car I adored. And I was the youngest stockbroker on my team at Charles Schwab. I was set, I thought. This was going to be my life. And I thought I was pretty happy with that. We're all aware of the tragic events that took place on September 11th, and we all have our own stories, I'm sure, about how that day changed our lives forever. For me, while I was profoundly affected by the events of those days, it was more the residuals of those events that came to a crescendo and started to fall rolling toward a total change of life for me. It was when I was laid off from Schwab 15 days after September 11th, along with another 20% of the company, and spent the next 2 months out of work, that I had time to really evaluate my life. And I realized that my relationship wasn't working, my home life wasn't working, I wasn't working, and it wasn't just because I wasn't working. By the time I started my next job on January 2nd, 2002, I had broken up with a fiance and started the ball rolling toward moving back to my hometown of Melbourne. When I walked into my new office that morning, though, and stood next to my new boss while he decided which desk he was going to assign me, I spotted a guy. He looks like someone I'd hang out with, I thought. Please give me the next desk next to his, please, 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 please. Half a beat later, and I was being led over to the very desk I'd just wished for. This is Jason, my boss said. He's a great guy. Anything you need, he'll be glad to help you out. Within minutes, Jason and I were talking about movies and music, and he lit up when I mentioned the Robbie the Robot toy he had sitting on his desk. I was nearly instantly smitten, despite having just left a 5-year-long relationship and everything else that I had going on. But it was simple. It wasn't the kind of crush you give any thought to, really. It was just simple. And that's what Jason and I and our friendship and later would become. It's just simply simple together. It didn't take long, though, before our friends within our department were pushing for us to get together. You guys are perfect together. Why aren't you dating yet? But I don't think we didn't give in to the pressure, just not yet. I think maybe subconsciously we drew it out because we knew what kindred spirits we were. And that there was a part of me that knew that he and I were meant to be, and he says he felt the same way. We just had so much going on in our lives that we had to get over and get out of our systems. I had to get rid of my fabulous apartment. I had to truly get rid of the ex-fiance, and I had to get past this sort of idea of a relationship I was entertaining with a friend who was in the Air Force and stationed in Okinawa. And Jason had his own stuff he had to get past too. So if we'd come to the decision any sooner than we did that we really were meant to be, that we were in love, I just don't know how it would have worked out. We had to wait for the stars, our stars, to align. During all of this, I had moved out of my fabulous apartment and in with a friend who lived in Palm Bay, which meant that I was now driving 70 miles to work one way and 70 miles home every day. My core dog, who I'd had since she was a puppy, was becoming more and more neglected. I love this animal. I used to call her my soul dog. And it came to the point where I had to make a decision that was best for the dog. I had to decide to give her away, which was the hardest thing I've ever done, and it broke my heart. And I realized that my last connection to the home that I built as an adult was now gone, and I was truly a gypsy. But I think that's what I needed. I needed to let go of all of the little bits and pieces of the puzzle that made me, so that I could begin to find new pieces, pieces that fit better. 1 year and 10 months after meeting, Jason and I got married. 2 weeks before that, though, I got a phone call from the couple that had taken my dog. They were moving, they said, and they couldn't take me with them. So my dog, my great white beast, my soul dog, came home to the new home that I was building with my new husband. 8.5 years later, here we are. Jason and I have the kind of relationship that other couples, or so they tell us, wish they could have. We're best friends, we're nutty in love, but we actually like each other. And my dog, who had been so skittish before going away for a year to live with a couple of hippies who had band practice in their living room with 10 people 4 nights a week, came back a happier and brighter soul than I ever could have imagined. She's 13 now, and she, just like Jason, is my reward. Once upon a time, I was forced to make some difficult and painful decisions about the direction my life was going to head. But it was all what was supposed to happen so that I could be rewarded.